there is close to about $25 billion that is actually being invested in supply chain technology today. And when we say supply chain technology, they are broadly two category of platforms. One is your system of record platforms, which are your ERP, TMS tools, planning tools, etc. The second category of tools is basically your visibility tools. You combine the amount of money spent by all companies in the world on these platforms, you will probably cross 25 billion. And is there a problem with that? No. We ourselves are in the supply chain space, and we would also like to make some money while adding value to each of you. But the challenge is that supply chains are still broken. If you look at the statistics here, whether you go to the Gartners of the world, you go to the Foresters of the world, you will see that close to 60% of shipments still arrive late. 17% face quality issues, and less than a quarter of returnable assets like bins, totes, ISO tanks, containers are utilized to their maximum potential. And what's the bigger problem with that? Bigger problem is that this leads to high inventory costs. So you're probably spending more on inventory. If you're going towards a just-in-time model, chances are you're probably dealing with stockouts. There's a high cost to serve your customer. Your order to cash is unpredictable or prolonged, where you're paying more interest on working capital than it's needed. Penalties, and the penalties are real, right? So if you're shipping by ocean, for example, you're dealing with a lot of detention and demurrage. There is audit risk exposure. There is poor customer experience, because at the end of the day, you want to deliver what you promised. In on time, in full, to your customers. Insurance premiums are rising, right? When we are talking to customers in multiple industries like CPG, pharma, electronics, they're saying that the security threat is real and insurance premiums are going up. And they need to figure a way not just to prevent theft, but also keep the premiums lower. Staff productivity. One thing that we learned in all our discussions with customers like you is that it's the productivity loss is not about how many things I can automate, but it's more about the fact that can I run without having many fires that come up on my table, right? And of course, from a top line perspective, revenue is at risk when it comes to unpredictable deliveries. And there is also multiple disruption risks in the supply chain, which include production line disruptions, shipping operation disruptions, and so on. And if you add all of this impact, you're already spending the industry is spending $25 billion, but the gaps are so huge that it is probably a leakage of billions of dollars that is happening in the supply chain. Next slide, please. So why aren't these tools able to solve it? So let's look at the type 1 tools and the type 2 tools. Type 1 being the system of records, like the planning and execution tools. These tools are reliant on manual data. So somebody needs to feed in the information onto these tools, maybe on a batch basis or on a day-to-day basis. So they don't have any visibility of what is really happening at the physical layer of the supply chain. Now, the visibility tools, they're tracking the location, they're tracking temperature sometimes, they're tracking humidity and other parameters. But most of the times, a temperature alert or an excursion means nothing unless you know why it's happening, and more importantly, what you need to do now, right? So what we saw here is, next slide, please. Visibility is not necessarily equal to taking the right action. And system of records, which is your Blue Yonders of the world, the Kinaxes of the world, great systems of records, but not necessarily resolving, telling you what now or what if, right? So this is where we saw the opportunity to really bring in visibility and business context. So one, we are able to light up your supply chain, tell you what is happening, where it's happening, why it's happening. And the second piece is using the power of AI to turn that into real-time decisions that you can truly action on, or even the system can action it for you. So what we'll do now is, next slide, please. We will look at what are those big challenges that we are currently addressing for some of our lighthouse customers using the power of unified visibility and decision AI. So here were some of the gaps we saw. It can be categorized into three. One is operations that are manual, extremely manual, error prone. Second one is operations where there's a very high risk of disruption. And the third piece is operations where performance and real-time performance checks and forecasting are really critical, without which you're probably bleeding your top or bottom line. So on the first bucket of manual operations, we saw that goods receipt still today is a very manual process. So once the shipment gets delivered at the location, there's not enough auditability on who received it, whether it was received in the right condition. And tomorrow, when there is a dispute on one shipment, customers have told us that an entire purchase order is sometime of 100 shipments is probably put on hold. Same thing with quality release. Quality release is still a very data logger driven approach today. And a lot of times when there is a quality complaint, very hard to go back and investigate why it happened. But more importantly, not preventing a quality excursion to happen also creates a downstream impact on the availability of usable stock. Risk and disruptions bucket. Detention and demurrage is a real problem if you're shipping by ocean. We are working with some companies, some CPG companies, for example, who ship, about say 30 to 50,000 containers, and they all are saying that detention and demurrage is running into millions. And a lot of times it's quite sneaky in the fact that you only know of it once the invoice lands on your table. The second piece, of course, is security compliance. So if you're shipping electronics, you're shipping high value CPG goods, you're shipping pharma products. One is, of course, the ability to know if there is a security risk that is happening. The second piece is if there is a security incident that happens, how quickly can you respond to it so you can minimize your damage? The third piece is about how effectively can you file your claims so you can keep your insurance premiums under check. For forecasting, replenishment today is still a very manual process, but we feel we have an opportunity to change that to it being dynamic, where it's driven by ETA. So not only does the customer have visibility into what they've shipped out, but they have visibility to when something is arriving and what is the downstream impact of that on stock availability, right? Reusable assets, we spoke about this. Major overhead in supply chains. And we feel there is an opportunity to get complete visibility of reusable assets, which we are doing today. But can we use that data to start offering repositioning decisions? Can we start offering insights to say that what shipping operations or production operations are going to get disrupted much ahead of time because there is going to be a lack of reusable assets. So you can align those to mitigate those disruptions. And last but not the least, one of my favorite ones is the revenue forecasting gap. So at the end of the quarter, end of the month, US supply chain members are probably working with your finance counterparts and trying to reconcile and say, what is the amount of revenue that's going to get delivered at the end of this month? And if you don't have this data, it's a guesswork process, which leads to underreporting or overreporting of revenue, because you don't know what is in transit, when it's going to arrive, when it's going to get unloaded. And this over or under reporting of revenue can lead to serious audit issues, but also it sometimes could actually play an impact on even the stock price in the market, because you're actually reporting your top line based on your best guesswork, right? So keeping in mind these 7 different solutions categorized under need for better automation, need for better risk and resilience, and need for better performance and forecasting, let's now dive into seeing how we address it. Right. So on our solution spotlight, let's first look at how visibility plus decision AI is the key to solving these problems. So here's kind of our approach that we are doing with, of course, some of you may be on the call here as well. What we have done very successfully in the last 10 years is the first part of this 3-day journey. Day one, we have been very successful in bringing you unified visibility. So visibility across all modes, whether it's ocean, air, land, rail, visibility across all flows. So whether you want to get visibility at a container level, you want to get visibility at a package level, you want to get visibility at a pallet level, we have been able to offer solutions to do that. And most importantly, visibility at the right total cost of ownership. So we have some customers here on this call who are using sensor-driven visibility for their critical flows, but for the non-critical flows, they are just using milestone visibility, right? And with this, I think we have been able to achieve something phenomenal with each of you, or together, right? Phenomenal achievements that we've been able to get together is lighting up your entire supply chain to the tune of 100%. So now that we have all of this data from day one, what we believe is that on the day two journey, we can now use these visibility signals to drive to business actions. And day three is we feel we can start using all of these insights to start driving to recommendations. So day two, one of my colleagues put this very beautifully, is he said, day two is all about what now, and day three is all about what if. And I think that kind of summarizes where we want to take you on this journey forward.